Good day, Hebrew Israelite family. Glory and honor to the God of truth, the creator of heaven and earth, seeing all that in them is, and to Messiah, YHWH, the expression of the Father, made flesh to us, the prophet, priest, and soon returning King. Glory and honor to Father Yahweh. Glory and honor to Messiah, YHWH. Greetings to the 12 awakening tribes of the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the bloodline of the nation promised to Abraham when he was called out of Ur the Chaldees. And, of course, to the brethren who, through the blood of the Messiah, have been made known the righteousness of the Father. And through Father and through Messiah's blood, they have joined us, though not of the bloodline, but in the blood. And those also of the chat, Brother Lonnie, Sister Joyce, Sister Love, Blue Superstar, Brother Baldy, Reese 13, Manny, greetings to all of you. Little history this past week, the Supreme Court repealed the Voting Rights Act of 1965. All of the marches, all of the deaths that took place in the 1950s and 60s, and even before that, were because Black people wanted the right to vote in the United States. They had the right to vote after the Civil War during the Reconstruction period. But when the Reconstruction period was completed, in other words, when the country was rebuilt, the Caucasian man took away the right to vote and created all kinds of ways, poll taxes, literacy tests, history tests, to stop Black people from voting. Because if you got a fair vote from the Black people, they would have some sort of political power. And I've said to you all before, once we were taken and brought to America as the only people brought to America in this fashion, all the other people that came to America came willingly to America in search of a better life and better opportunities. But the original slaves of America were not coming here voluntarily. They were stolen from Africa, enslaved, and brought to America. They were brought here to work. Because of that beginning, the people that enslaved us will never allow us to be equal with them. So that when we were allowed to vote during the Reconstruction, they were scared of the power we might wield. So they took away that right after the construction was done. And this is a pattern. When the United States, the people in power need help, they have always called on us. We built the United States by and large. And when we finish building it, they tell us to go home. Okay? And so the people from Europe got all kind of aid and help to come to the United States. They got free land. They were taught how to farm when they didn't know how to. And they were given a start in the United States when they came here with nothing. We were brought here in the bottom of ships and forced to labor, raped, our names changed, our religion taken from us. And then after we built the place, we rebuilt it after the Civil War. And then when it was rebuilt, they told us they didn't need us anymore, and they stopped us from voting. Okay. So during the course of time, many Black people died at the hands of white mobs in attempts to vote. That is why many Black people feel like we should be voting today. But let me go further. Because we as Black people thought that if we got the equal right to vote, we would have some sort of power to change our situation. Because we've never been first-class citizens in the United States of America. Never. We've been deducted and reduced over time. Okay? So when we would we would demand the right to vote, we didn't get it. Finally, a civil rights movement took place. Civil rights, which is the right to not be discriminated against based on color or religion or creed. The Civil Rights Act came first, 1964. Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act. You could not discriminate based on color, religion, or creed in the United States. Followed by that in 1965 was the Voting Rights Act, where nobody was, it was a prohibition. You could not stop anyone from the right to vote. That did not stop the white folks from stopping us from voting. So what they did then is they created voting districts. Most Black people in the United States then and still today lived in cities, especially in the North. The big cities is where Black people migrated to after slavery. So Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, New York, Black people migrated to these places, Los Angeles, Oakland, San Francisco, big cities, Dallas, Texas, Miami, Florida, and all big cities is where we migrated. So they would let the biggest bloating city be a district. And so in places like Pennsylvania, it would vote Democrat because the majority of Black people were in Philadelphia, the biggest voting bloc in the state, and they would vote Democratic, so the Democrats would win. In the South, they came up with new ways to stop us from voting. Voter IDs, closing voting booths, limiting the time they were open, trying to stop us from voting, particularly in places like Georgia and Alabama and Mississippi, where there were large Black populations, so that those states always voted Republican because the votes they made count were white people. Lately, what they did is overturn the Voting Rights Act. So that the way they did it was, whereas, say, Philadelphia was a large population, mostly Black, and it was the biggest population in the state of Pennsylvania. They could now take Philadelphia and take a little piece of it and put it in the white section, so that section would be a minority. And they can break up the whole city into sections, mingle it in with white sections, and make everybody minority. They could do that in all the cities. Therefore, they can gerrymander the vote so that no Black person's vote would really count. They made this legal last week. Here in Florida, over the last couple of years, they've been prohibiting the teaching of slavery, the history of slavery in America. And what is this telling us? Well, a couple of things. Let's take a look at the word. First, in Exodus chapter 1. Exodus chapter 1. In Exodus chapter 1, it has always been our experience in Egypt has always been a metaphor or a parable or a story or a symbol of our experience in these last days. And in fact, the Bible does mention our deliverance like it was in Exodus from Egypt. And so let's look at a couple of passages from Exodus and begin at chapter 1. Let's go from chapter 1, from 1 to 14. Exodus chapter 1, from 1 to 14. Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. All the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities in Pithom and Ramesses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made children of Israel to serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field, and all their service, wherein they made them serve, was with rigor. So Joseph was sent by his brothers. He was sold into Egyptian service by his own brothers. Then when Joseph saved the nation, the Most High used him to save the nation, and they were grateful, Joseph and his brothers lived in Mizraim, or Egypt, the land of Ham. But then there came another king, and they made them slaves, and they afflicted them. Our experience here in this country is we were stolen. Some of the white folks like to say we were sold by our own people. We were sold by Hamites to Europeans, but they wouldn't understand that, or they don't want to. And whereas our brethren here came down there because there was a famine in the land, we were sold into this land. But like them, we multiplied and grew and built this land for them. Then they got scared of us and started planning and scheming to reduce us or kill us with experimentation, with drugs, with the foods in our neighborhood, with anything they could do to hurt us. And number one, stop us from getting any power. Now, they did all that until it was time for deliverance. Until it was time for deliverance. And let's look at Exodus, the same Exodus, chapter 9. And it seemed like at that point, the Hamites were the most powerful people on the planet Earth. Hamites from North Africa, which we call Egyptians, which the Greeks changed to Egyptians. So they were the most powerful nation, and they had us as slaves in their nation, helping build their cities. And it looked like as we were trying to leave, they would stop us. Okay, we take it up here in Exodus chapter 9, beginning at verse 12. Exodus chapter 9, beginning at verse 12, and go from verse 12 down to verse 16. And Yahweh hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he hardened not unto them, and he hearkened not unto them, as Yahweh had spoken unto Moses. And Yahweh said unto Moses, rise up early in the morning, and stand before Pharaoh, and say unto him, thus saith Yahweh Most High of the Hebrews, let my people go, that they may serve me. And I will at this time send all my plagues upon thy heart, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, that thou mayest know that there is none like me in all the earth. Now I will stretch out my hand, and I will smite thee and thy people with pestilence, and thou shalt be cut off from the earth. And in very deed, for this cause have I raised thee up, for to show in thee my power, that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. Today, the United States of America is the most powerful country on the planet. They are powerful and arrogant. They try to tell us they're not going to tell us our history or the true history of us. So it's up to us to tell our children our history. You know, as I was awakened, brothers and sisters, as I was awakened from the word, I became interested in my own family history. And what really did help, to be quite honest, is understanding where my people originally came from. So that whatever happens, brethren, whatever the situation is, you must know as an Israelite, your origins are with Abraham. That's where your bloodline came from, Abraham. From there, you ended up where you are now. And between Abraham and now, there's a history. The Bible points out the history if you want to read it. It points out your history from Abraham till now. Everything. It even tells you you're going to go into slavery by your enemies. It tells you everything. It tells you how you're going to be delivered and why. And let's look at Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 4. verse 9. Deuteronomy chapter 4, I'm going to read from verse 9 and verse 10. Only, he says here, Moses, take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life. But teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons. Teach them to your children and your grandchildren, especially the day that thou stoodest before Yahweh thy most high in Oreb, when Yahweh said unto me, gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days that they live upon the earth, and they that may teach their children. It's not on the U.S. government, the public school system, the Catholic schools, to teach us and our children who we are, where we come from, how we came to be. It's on us. And as the Most High allowed Pharaoh to gain more and more power so that his nation became the most powerful nation on planet Earth, so the Most High shows us he will allow the lamb-like beast of Revelation 13 to deceive the earth, to have rule over the earth, but to reign a short time. And why? The reason is the same. He's going to show the heathen who the true God is. He's going to show the heathen who the true people are. He's going to make known his name in the earth, just like he did to Pharaoh. But it's on us to know that history. It's not on the public school. It's not on the federal government. It's on us to tell our children. Then I began myself. In my family and in many families, there's a person or two that's kind of a family historian. You may have one in your family. They'll tell you all about your family, and they'll go back generations. I'm fortunate. On my mother's side of the family, there was 3 different people. I got 3 cousins, an aunt and 2 cousins, really, that'll give me all the history going back over 100 years of all that side of my family. But on my father's side, it was a mystery. My father was one of 8. And the last 3, of which he was one, didn't know who their fathers was. The first 5 knew who their father was. He died and left my grandmother illiterate and alone on Long Island, New York in the 1920s and 30s. She cleaned houses to put food on the table for my father and his brothers and sisters. She couldn't read. In 1939, a white man whose house she was taking care of, chief of police in Brooklyn, his son raped her in 1939. She couldn't say anything about it. It was 1939. Nobody even knew she was pregnant. She had the baby in the basement of the house she was renting. That baby was my father. Through DNA, through census records, and from my father, I found out who this was and who did it. Later on, after my father was born, my grandmother met a man who was married, a black man. He was a boxer and a gambler, and his name was Glasgow. My father had not even had a proper birth certificate. Mr. Glasgow got my father a birth certificate, enrolled him and his own daughter that he had with my grandmother in school, along with another younger sister. And they all took his name. That's the truth. And nobody said anything because they were so ashamed of what happened. My grandmother was ashamed she couldn't read. She was ashamed at what happened to her. She even blamed herself, as many rape victims do. But I was able to find all of this out through my own research. And when you go looking, brethren, be careful what you ask for, because you may find some things that people don't want you to know. So none of my father's family wanted to know anything about us. Though his brother, who was born the next year by another woman, and him looked like twins. That's our history. And I can stretch it back into the deep into the 19th century on both sides. So I could tell my grandchildren where I came from and how I got here in the truth. I could tell them about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and what happened to our forefathers in the truth. See, it is different when you're speaking truth than when you're speaking fantasy. It is real. You understand? This ain't no fantasy, it's real deal. And in the world, as I say often, that's based on lies, the world ain't gonna like the truth. Although the whole world is gonna have to stand before the truth very shortly. See? Praise the Most High. And all of us have a history that goes back to Abraham as Hebrews. But you got to understand where you came from and how you got here. Where was your peoples at? How did they get here? What were they doing? Were they in the United States? Were they in Mexico? Were they in Philippines? Were they in the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Jamaica? Where they come from? How'd they get there? Where were they before? And there's a lot of shame in our background. I know my family, one of my aunts would get very upset at me just bringing this up. Very upset. It came from my stepfather, Castle. I just said that. The man came and gave up the last 3 children his name. My father they didn't give him a last name. She gave him the last name of the husband that died at first, but then this man came. He never married her, but he gave all the kids his last name, the last 3. He was from Georgia. He was a boxer. He came through Philly. Yeah, right. That's right. He came through Philly. His family was slaves in Georgia, and he came through Philly. So there's a lot of his name in Philly, but they're not my bloodline. But that's how we got it. I got that too. Okay. So it's good that our families will know from us who we are, how we got here, what happened, and where we're going. Especially now they took away the voting rights. So your vote ain't going to count anyway. You could be anywhere. They're going to make sure your vote don't matter because they're afraid of us. You see how the Egyptians was afraid of the Hebrews? The Caucasian people are afraid of us. If they weren't afraid of us, they wouldn't be so focused for the whole history of us being here, of trying to stop us from voting. They're scared of that. They never want us to be equal with them. Although, to be quite honest with you, when the Messiah returns, the Bible shows us we're going to be above them. They're scared of that. But that's going to happen. So, brothers and sisters, it's good for us to know our history from the word first. That's the root. Because at the end of the day, that's really the most important part. The rapes, the lynchings, all of that is horrible news, horrible business. But when you understand where you come from, when you understand your real origin, and it wasn't in what the West Africa where they stole us from, we had come there, but it was really in the part of Africa that's now called the Middle East. Let me say it again. It's the part of Africa that's now called the Middle East. According to the word, that's our real history. When you're reading about the children of Israel leaving Egypt, those are your people. That's where you come from. When you read about Samuel and Gideon, when you read about David, Jeremiah, that's your people. Those are your cousins. That's where you come from. When you read about the Apostle Paul or John or Peter or Andrew, those are your cousins. When you read about the Messiah, he looks like us. He's our cousin. That's your history. Okay? Praise the Most High. So, brothers and sisters, now that they're now trying to stop the flow of information about slavery in public schools, they're trying to stop you from voting. The Most High is obviously allowing these things because he has given us all the tools we really need in our own family and in the Word. He's given us all the tools that we need. And in causing us to seek the truth, we peel back all of the layers of lies that there are out there. There's no white people in the Bible. None of them were white. There was no white Jesus. They were all melanated. There was no Christianity. That's a religion came from the Europeans. And see, as you start seeking your own truth, your own history from the Word, you start to look differently than what you're looking at now through a European version of history. You don't see it like that no more. Though they try themselves to paint it like that. And you can see through the propaganda and lies in the media. Brothers and sisters, they spend a lot of time and effort on mind control because they're so afraid of us. But they don't know nothing about fear yet. Because as we get more power of the Spirit with us, they're going to really be afraid. And that's coming. Praise the Most High. That's coming. That's definitely coming. We praise the Most High for the promises of his word. We praise the Most High. Learn his word. Pray over his word. Pray to Father for his Spirit to guide you in his word, for his glory, in his name. It's coming, brothers and sisters, so fast. It's going to hit them like a train coming. They're not even seeing it. It's going to blindside them. It's not going to blindside us because we've been following the word, because we know who our history is, because we've been seeking the Most High's face. Praise the Most High. It's not going to come on us like that. It's going to come on them like that, though, because they're trying their best to hide the word. They're trying their best to misdirect, to distort, to speak lies that they start to believe. That's the scariest part. My wife and I were talking about this, about certain people the other day. Certain people lie so much that they start believing their own BS. That's when you're really in trouble. That's when you're really in trouble. When you start to lie so much that you start to believe your own lie, and that's Donald Trump, the Donald Trump cousin or his niece said that about him. Said he believes that you just keep telling the lie until it becomes the truth. That's his actual belief. And that's what the media is about. They'll keep feeding you lies until all of a sudden you accept it as truth. We praise the Most High for his word. As we seek the Spirit of the Father and his word, there is no power available to stop the truth from coming to us. We must be prepared to receive the truth. And I learned that with the history of my own father and his family. That's how I learned that. They was all ashamed. I totally get it. But I wanted to know the truth. And I'm glad I did. But I wanted to know, no matter if it was good, if it was bad, if it was ugly, I wanted to know the truth. And that's the difference between the children of Yahweh and the children of the devil. Children of the devil hide from the truth. They don't want to know it. They want to give you some made up truth. And that's where it comes from, brothers and sisters, where you get teachers that act like they don't make no mistakes. They know everything. And you're supposed to come to them. What do I tell you when you come to me? What do I say? Go to the word. Go to your heavenly Father. Pray to your heavenly Father. Let him teach you. The truth is sometimes hard. Isn't what John said? It tastes good in your mouth, but in your belly, hit your belly was bitter. It was bitter. Ask your Father first. Your heavenly Father. And look in his word. Use your concordance. Look it up. Do some studying. Do some searching. And find it for yourself. Don't guess. Because that's what the heathen do. When they don't understand something, they guess. And try to argue about their guess with you. Don't do that. Your eternal existence is at stake. Make sure you know the truth. And it's all right to say you don't know. You could always find out. See, when you know, it's what the Most High Son said to the scribes and Pharisees. They asked him, are we blind? He said, you say we see. He said, if you were blind, you could get help, but you said we see. So your sin remains. Today, there's a lot of people that think they know already. Well, you already know. Okay, well, nobody need to tell you if you already know. See, myself, I know I don't already know. So therefore, I have room to learn. And I praise the Most High because he could teach me. I want to learn. So looking at my history, I found ugly stuff. I found stuff my father didn't really want to talk about. My aunt didn't really want to talk about. They didn't want to know nothing about it, though it's true. Hard history we have in this country, brothers and sisters. Very hard history. We have overcome a lot. As Black people, especially in the United States of America, we have overcome a lot. More than they know. More than them. We have overcome a lot. The Heavenly Father has kept us in his hands until it's time. Notice this here. This is Isaiah chapter 25. I'm going to start at verse 7, Isaiah 25, from verse 7 down to verse 9. Isaiah chapter 25, from verse 7 to verse 9. Notice what it says. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. He will swallow up death in victory, and the Most High Yahweh will wipe away tears from off all faces. And the rebuke of his people shall he take away from off all the earth. For Yahweh hath spoken it. And it shall be said in that day, lo, this is our God. We have waited for him, and he will save us. This is Yahweh. We have waited for him. We will be glad and rejoice in his salvation. You see, brothers and sisters, the people of the nations serve false gods. They're going to come after us to kill us for speaking the truth. Because the truth is hard, especially when you don't want it. And we're going to let them know when we see the Messiah as they're running away. This is our God. We waited for him. He will save us. Praise the Most High, brothers and sisters. The time is almost here. And when you see things like them destroying the Civil Rights Act, destroying the Voting Rights Act, eliminating Black history, true Black history. When you see that, you know this is what they wanted to do the whole time. See, what Donald Trump has done for the white folks in America is giving them license to show who they really are. See, prior to this, they were hiding it. They were hiding it. Even with him. Oh, we just like his policies. What policy? Well, they can't name him because really he's a white supremacist. That's why they like him. But they're afraid to even say that, how ugly it is. So now he's giving them the freedom to express themselves. Brothers and sisters, it's been said, be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for, because when you get it, whoo, you see, brothers and sisters, the Most High is allowing them to bring themselves out. See, why would anybody want to worship in a church where they have priests that molest little boys? Why would you do that? Why would you give your money to some church that's going to build up a bigger church? Why would you do that when people are starving to death? Why would you support a candidate that likes the alphabet soup like Barack Obama? Because that means you down with it. Why would you support a candidate that's a pedophile? Why would you do that? And trying to hide what he done and lie every day. Why would you do that? Because you become like him. See, brethren, I support Messiah. I support Father Yahweh. Because that's righteousness and truth without no cut. That's wisdom uncut. I support him and his word. I can't support a man because the man going to disappoint you, going to lie to you, going to cheat on you. Can't be trusted. And you know I'm too old. At this, I was just telling my wife, I'm too old to be messing with people I can't trust no more. If I can't trust you, you got to step. I can't trust you. I'm too old to be messing with people I can't trust. If I can't trust you, I got it. I praise the Most High. I can trust Yahweh. I can trust Messiah. I can trust the word. I put all my stuff in that basket, put all my chips in the table and trust them 100%. It's going to get harder soon. More difficult. But the truth is still the truth, brothers and sisters. And you're going to be glad you stuck with it. You're going to be glad you stuck with it. And there's this player on the Knicks that he doesn't play, at the high level during the regular season. And everybody was yelling and whining about him. And I said, when it comes time to get the championship, when it comes time for the playoffs, you're going to be glad he's on your side. And guess what? Everybody's glad now. Because there's some people that are there for when it really counts, and there's some people that's not. Okay, it just is what it is. By standing in the truth and seeking the Father and his word, he's going to keep us and hold us up when it's time to stand against Pharaoh. And the plagues are going to fall on Pharaoh and his people. And he's going to keep us from the plagues as he promised in his word. Look what he said. Revelation chapter 3. Revelation chapter 3, Philadelphia. Revelation chapter 3, Philadelphia. And this is Revelation 3, verse 10. Revelation 3, verse 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. Yes, the 4 angels are letting loose them winds. They're going to come on the whole earth. They don't know it yet, though, but it's coming. Only thing we can trust is the Heavenly Father and his word. And he will keep us in that. By his spirit, he'll keep us in that. See, you want to be there when it counts. The Father will keep you when it counts. Right now, it's pretty peaceful, relatively speaking, although children are being raped every day. People are starving still. People are getting killed in wars. People are getting shot and stabbed every day. It's still relatively peaceful on the planet for most of us. But it's not going to last long. Pretty soon it's going to be wild, real wild. Pretty soon. Stay with the word. Stay with the Father. Know your history. Teach your children and your grandchildren your history, who you really are. May the Most High bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom.